welcome to Whiskey and Wool. My name is Shannon, and I'm going to talk to you today about knitting, spinning, and crochet. I have a finished object, just one. Thought I would have so many more. But first, let me ask how you're doing. How are you? Thank you for joining me today on my channel and spending a little time catching up with me on my projects. I think this is not going to be such a long episode, but I think that often when I am recording and it ends up being long. I don't have too much new to show you, but I do have some updates on my ongoing whips. But first, before we get into what I've been making the past couple weeks, I want to chat with you about whiskey. So I'm going to send you to the future to watch me in a whiskey chat, which I'll be filming later on this evening. And I'll see you soon. Hey, I am going to do a little whiskey chat with you. I wanted to do it before I took my makeup off. So it is now late afternoon and the cat is restless. So if you hear some noise in the background, it is him. Okay, tonight we are going to taste Glenfarclas 21-year single malt Scotch whiskey. I have poured it off into my tasting dram. And yeah, let me tell you about the distillery. Oh my gosh, it has such a strong smell. I can't wait to try that. Okay, so Glenfarclas is owned by the Grant family. It is one of the few family-owned distilleries still remaining in Scotland. It is on its 6th generation of the Grant family. The origins are of this is coming straight from them off their website. They were established in 1835 by someone, I think his name was John Smith, but the Grant family owned the distillery. They just let it out to, or rented it out to a different man because the patriarch of the Grant family at that time, I think his name was also John, he owned Glenlivet, so he was already making whiskey, and he bought the land that had this distillery already on it. Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you, it's in the Speyside region, which is the most common region from where today's whiskey is from. So the Speyside region has a bunch of distilleries. I think it's around 30-ish, in the 30s, something like that, right now. And at some point there was, I want to say, over 100 distilleries in that region. It's on the north, not most northern, but on a northern sort of eastern side of Scotland. I'll put a map on here. You'll see it on the top. There is a river called Speyside that provides fresh water along with, I guess, probably springs and stuff that are in the area for whiskey making. And there is a ready-made source of the barley that is needed and other ingredients all in that region. So that's why it's such a popular region for whiskey making. So anyway, the Grant family bought it, and John Grant's son George decided he wanted to make whiskey, so they ended the lease with John Smith, and George began to run the distillery. But he died early, and the distillery went to his wife, and his wife put their two sons in charge, their two oldest sons in charge of the distillery, and it has remained in the Grant family hands since. They are the largest distillery in that region. They have 6 stills, which is more, I guess, than most people. Most distilleries that I've looked at, I think, have either 3 or 4. So 6 is quite large. They have a pretty nice range of whiskey as well. They have a 10-year, a 12-year, a 15-year, a 17-year, a 21-year, a 25-year, a 30-year, and a 40-year. Their 40-year was launched in 1976. That was when they first started to produce it. It is supposed to be one of the more flavorful 40 years, and it is also one of the more reasonably priced 40 years. I didn't realize that 40 year or 50 year, I think they have a 50 year as well, whiskeys were so expensive. Like you're starting around $900 or $1,200, and they just go up from there. Like, I think some of the more high-end distilleries like Balvenie and such, the 40-year can be like $4,000. They do very small bottlings of that. I don't know. I didn't read too much on Farkless about that part, but they do use Oloroso sherry casks in their aging process, which we know from doing so many of these whiskey chats. Oloroso imparts flavor of nutty flavors, dried fruit flavors, sometimes red fruit flavors like plum or berry flavors, and the also spicy, some amounts of spice, and sometimes leather flavors depending on the casks. This family, the Grant family, have been buying the Oloroso sherry casks from the same family in Spain for decades, maybe generations, but for a very long time. So one of the family members or distillery workers or whatever, or executives, goes every year to Spain to meet with the family and place the order for the casks and arrange for them to be shipped back to Scotland for the aging process. So yeah, that is a little precursor to what Glenfarclas is like. Farkless. They do offer tours, and yeah, you can visit. I think, like many places in Scotland, they are just reopening to visitors after having a pretty long time, on shutdown because of the pandemic. So yeah, they have big red doors. They're known for red doors. So I probably have put many pictures in by now. I hope that you can see so much of this distillery and the uniqueness of it. I love me a family-owned distillery, so I'm in heaven right now. I don't think I've ever tasted a Farkless before, so I am interested in tasting it. Before I have I have found a page that the distillery says what they say I should be tasting, and then I also have another third-party website that is going to tell me what I should be tasting. I have not looked at them. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be tasting, other than I know that there's Oloroso sherry involved. So I'm going to expect some of those full fruit, nutty, maybe tobacco or leather tastes in there. All right, here we go. It's pretty nice golden color, pretty deep, nice, beautiful gold. Okay, right off the top, this is a really juicy whiskey. It's got lots of fruit flavors in there. I definitely smell, I want to say it's cherry. There's some red fruit in there, not plum, more cherry. It's a sweeter, and there's this hint of spice. A little bit of wood, which you would expect there. Usually you get a little more of the wood or oak flavors when it's an older whiskey. There's a hint of wood at the back, but the overwhelming smell is fruit. It's just like smelling a fruit bowl. All right. Yeah. Okay, so you get the fruit right away. And then it changes over to this like sort of vanilla custard and almost pastry taste. There's a little bit of a zing at the end, like a little bit of a spice, but it's very faint. Nothing like some of the more spicy whiskeys that are produced in the western regions of Scotland. Caramel, also there with the vanilla. There's something that I might say is leather. It could be wood. There's like kind of a wooden-ish taste. All right. Let's see what they say, what the distillery says I should be tasting. By the way, they're like award-winning. All of their whiskeys have won awards. They say that, 100% Oloroso sherry cask maturation. So some whiskeys will also change casks in the process of the finishing. They don't. They say it's an incredibly rounded whiskey that leaves you refreshed and contented and always deserves a second glass. On the nose, intense, full of aroma, sherried fruit, tropical fruit, nutmeg, and almonds with a slight citrus note at the end. On the tongue, full body, rich, rounded, develops slowly into fruity and spicy flavors, and the finish, smooth, long-lasting chocolate. I don't know, chocolate. I was saying vanilla. Okay. All right, the third party says, Glenfarclas sounds like you're cussing in Gaelic, but if you're a fan of Highland single malt whiskies, the word Glenfarclas is music to your ears. It means Valley of the Green Grass, which perfectly describes its location. Okay. The flavors. Now, on the nose, caramel, apple, banana, warm pecan, and buttery malt. The flavor is chocolate, raisins, fig, and toffee with a little smoke, long and strong. So I didn't taste raisins and figs. I could see. With toffee I said caramel. I don't taste smoke, and there's nothing about a wood or butter in the nose. Interesting. All right. I'll pop the flavor wheel on screen too so you can see it. So they're saying red apple. Oh, vanilla is there. It's at the beginning. And then apple, sherry, apple, and smoke at the end. Interesting. Okay. I was saying zing like a spice, but they're saying it's smoke. No spice on this flavor wheel at all. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you get a chance to try a whiskey of your choice. If you have suggestions for a whiskey you want me to try, go ahead and put that in the comments below. And all right. See you next time. Welcome back. I'm currently drinking some OJ with sparkling water in it to give it a little less acidity. Oh, and I'm wearing the Rye Layering Tea, a sleeveless version. I've made many of these. I think I've made 6. Not all sleeveless, 2 are sleeveless. I made this last year. This is made out of a sport weight yarn. It is a pattern design for sport weight. It is a pattern of my own design. You can find it on Ravelry or by direct messaging me. I can accept PayPal or Zelle or Venmo, whatever you like. Just reach out to me. You don't have to buy it through Ravelry. I just am a tiny operation. It's not a business at all for me so I don't have a business website, and I don't want to set up an Etsy shop or anything like that. So I hope that being able, of course, you can always DM me about any patterns that are mine. I can just sell directly to you. I don't need to go through any other website. We could just do it via email. Anyway, yeah, so this is a rye layering tee, sport weight. The sleeveless version takes, also full range of sizes, right up to, I think like a 66-inch bust, but it is a rib knit. It is meant to be form-fitting. What I really love about this sleeveless, about the pattern in general, is that it has a very high armhole, like a t-shirt would, so you don't have any showing on the side at all, because the armhole is high enough that it should cover your bra, unless you have super skinny arms. And then I guess maybe it would be lower. I don't know. But yeah, full size range, about a skein and a half for my size. I think I made the 42 or so. I don't remember. 42-inch bust. I have a 40-inch bust. But I have a small back, so everything looks more emphasized on me than it does on people that are more, have less circumference between their rib cage and their bust line. Yeah, anyway, Martha is also my size, so you can have a ready visual. She also, I have put just in case you have the same issue I do with your body in terms of regular size, she's a regular size 12 form that I have put one of my old bras on and padded it out till she was as big across the bust line as I am. Because other than that, everything else about me is pretty much spot on. This, like, in terms of my other measurements, fit the 12, so. Okay. I don't know why I digressed onto that. I also haven't told you about the weather, but we're having a stormy couple days because Elsa, the tropical storm / hurricane, blew up the East Coast. I live in New Jersey, in the northeastern part of New Jersey, not in the south part of Jersey where the racist ranting man was arrested. Like that so much. Ashamed that it's Jersey though. But anyway, yeah, I live in northern New Jersey. Not to say that there aren't racist people around here. I'm sure there are. They just like to hide, but more, I guess, here. But anyway, northern New Jersey, along the coast, so right near the city. So yeah, the storm is still around. We had a couple really crazy stormy days, but it's still overcast. All right, enough about all that. Yeah, so Martha is wearing actually two things. She's wearing a whip and a finished object. I finished my Ziggy Interrupted with the exception of the tassels. I have not made the tassels yet. I wasn't sure I was going to because it is really long. Like, with the tassels on it, if it's wrapped around me like just straight like this, those ends of the tassels will basically be around my ankle bone. So it will be very, very long. I have a little bit of regret about not eliminating some of the stripes like I know so many other people did. They eliminated one or two stripes to make it smaller. I thought, like, shorter. I thought that, I thought it'd be okay, I guess. I did make mine wider, so the pattern is written for 6 motifs across, so it would have been this wide, but I added 2 extra rows of motif. So mine is about 25 inches across instead of, I think it would have been like 16, and it is about 100 inches long. Let me show you the whole thing. Let's see, can I get it off of her? Here we go. We'll talk about the whip she's wearing in a minute. So I'll just give you the flyby. I did this along with Christy Glass Knits and her Knit and Escape business. She hosted a crochet along that began in like mid-May and went through the end of June, so I'm a little late with my finishing. I just finished this like 2 days ago. And the idea is that the pattern is written for 5 colors, 5 skeins, and she had devised a way to do it with minis. So when you buy the pattern from her, you also get tutorials on how to pick your colors and stuff. It was really great. It was very, very well done. And there's also a video about how to make tassels, which I'm going to watch later this weekend. And yeah, so anyway, you use 29 minis. I used a combination of minis and bibs and bobs that I had of old patterns and things. So, and it's got 4 sections. So each section creates a color story. So I chose 8 colors per section, even though there's just 7 stripes. And then I used one of the colors, I moved it forward into the next group. So here's the second grouping. This is my least favorite. I wish when I did this one, I took one of those blues out, like one of these 2 blues out and moved it into this section and like swapped it maybe with the white, but it's okay. I love this section here. This is the 3rd section, and this was the very first section that I did. I love the way these look. I don't know how much I'll wear this because it is quite big. I thought it would be a really cool wrap, which was why I did it a little wider, because I wanted to be able to wear it like a wrap instead of a scarf, because it seemed like a lot of people, if you did it the regular width and length, you kind of just end up wearing it as a scarf. I think it's really beautiful. I've talked about it the past few episodes, and I have said wax poetic about how much fun it was to make these motifs. I loved it. I understand most people really love the stripes and don't love the motifs, but I just loved it. Like, working on these motifs was something that I did practically every morning for the whole crochet along, because in the morning when I wake up, I go make my coffee and feed the cat, and then I just want to sit and for like 30 minutes and just let my brain wake up. And just, you know, I need something to do while I'm doing that. So often usually I'm knitting, but lately I've been crocheting, and I crochet these little motifs, so I could bang out like 6 to 8 motifs depending on how long I was going to sit there each morning. And I really enjoyed that part. I loved like playing with the colors and seeing them paired together, and you know, it was so much fun. So much fun. So yeah, I will miss that part, but it's fine. There are other things. I have these whips that I'm showing you that have been whips for quite a while, so I'm looking forward to working my way through them. But yeah, that's my finished object. Oh, I have a little clip here that I'm going to show you of it. I have a swivel chair. It's so pretty. It's like a gold color, beautiful gold color, and this just looks amazing laying on it. So that's probably where this is going to live most of the time. And, you know, I'll wear it whenever I have the need. Yeah. Okay. My works in progress. Oh my gosh, I have so much to talk about. Since you're looking at it, I'm going to start with what Martha's wearing. This is the Centerpoint Popover by, I'm not going to try to pronounce her name. I think it's Anur. I might be saying it wrong. And I don't remember how to pronounce her last name. I don't remember what it is right now, but I'll put it all on screen. It is a pattern available on Purl Soho's website, and for purchase, not for free. A lot of their patterns are for free, but that one's for purchase. And you can also find it on Ravelry. It's really unique in the way that you make it. So you start with making the front and you cast on right here just a couple stitches and then go back and forth creating this block, so to speak, and then you reach a point where you stop, like when you get to here, you stop, and then you do the back, and then you join them together, and then you're knitting all the way around the entire piece. So this is what the back looks like. And you keep knitting that all the way around until it gets to the length you want. This is the way the pattern is written. Then you go back and knit each sleeve. So I have a second sleeve to do. I have completed one, and you can see that this one, what she has you do is switch to a 2x2 rib pattern or a stitch. So yeah, that's the way the pattern's written. I made a couple mods. Oh, one thing to note too, it's a hoodie. So I will be coming and filling in the neck with about, I think about an inch or so of V, maybe more. I don't remember, but there is some sort of neckband you do, and then you do the hood. So yeah, I think it's gonna be so cute. I made some mods, which is why it's looking kind of weird, though I'm not sure it would have been any weirder if I'd followed the pattern. What I did, I decided that I didn't want the armhole to start down here at my hip. I wanted it to be higher because I didn't want a dolman sleeve. It is still kind of dolman-like, but on the body it works because this part right here is up about my mid bicep, so it's not down here. I have a Junko Okamoto pattern where the armhole is like at my elbow, and I really don't like that. So yeah, the armhole is up a little higher than that, so it works out. I certainly have enough width. I did the one that is 51 inches, but I made, let me go back to the mods. So I started out to do the pattern that was 51 inches, like 51 inch hip measurement, which is why I have this, so much ease down here. But you make, no matter what size you're making, it starts the same. The difference is that you just keep building, you keep stitching those stitches further and further out so that your garment is growing both down and out at the same time. I reached a point in the decreasing of the shoulders and the adding on of stitches that where I decided to split for sleeves and cast on some underarm stitches so that it wouldn't keep growing out and I could just work on the length. So what I did, I cast on some, I think you can see, yeah, right here was where the split was, right where that, hopefully you see it, right there. And I continued to increase because that's what the pattern said to do. It didn't say to continue to increase, but I knew that I still had more increases to do. But I can see now that what I've done in terms of the width is plenty. And what I'm planning to do is rip back up to that point and just knit straight without any increases because it just looks weird. This like flared hip. I may make it longer, but I don't think so because I believe when I block it, it's going to grow. I think it's going to stretch downward a bit. And yeah, so I'm pleased with the fact that my armholes are higher. Yeah, and it'll simplify it too if I just get rid of those increases. I think they look so funny. Anyway, that is the center point. Pop over. The yarn is some gorgeous hand spun that I made specifically for this project. It's a worsted weight yarn. So I made this like sort of like a blue rainbow. So you could see it caked how the colors create this natural striping pattern. I love this sleeve. I think that looks so cool. Of course, on a sleeve you're doing a smaller circumference, so the striping is not as, rigid. It's really cool. Yeah, so I am center pulling here, so I'll probably end with a dark green portion, because there's like dark green in there. I don't know if you can see it, but dark green meaning like what's hitting right here across the front. So yeah, that is my center point popover. It will be done really soon because it is a worsted weight sweater on, I'm using size 7 needles, which is US size 7 or 4.5 millimeter needles, which I think is what the pattern calls for. I don't think I went down a needle size. I think I got gauge with the hand spun that the pattern is designed for linen quill, worsted weight. So I know there's some linen quill lovers out there. So if you're loving linen quill, that's what this pattern was designed for, which would be a great like beachy sweater if you're hanging out at the beach and it's getting cool, or like post swim or something. Yeah. Or like a really huge ice cube that keeps hitting my lip. Okay, so that's the center point popover. My other whips, which, oh my goodness, I really thought this was going to be done. My stone crop cardigan in the ranch yarn from Brooklyn Tweed, and spin cycle in the colorway Summer Love. I still have about 6 inches of the second sleeve to do, and then I do the neckband. I did a provisional cast on. That's one of my own modifications, and I have instructions on what I did. This is my second stone crop cardigan that I've made. My first one, I have instructions on how I did the mod. Thank goodness, because if I didn't, I don't know if I could replicate, unless like really examining what I knitted before. I don't know that I could replicate it. So I'm so happy I made notes. The other mod I made is I did much smaller baubles. They are Japanese style baubles that you knit. You don't need to use a crochet hook. You can just knit them, and you knit back and forth over a few stitches, and then do a yarn, slip stitches, and that's it. I have instructions on that too in my older stone crop. It's a blue-green one, really pretty. But yeah, this is coming along. Maybe it'll be done next time. I really was working hard on it, trying to get it done for this time, but I realized there was a point like on Thursday where I was like, not gonna get it done. It will not be finished in time for this episode, this filming. So yeah, I just decided to stop tormenting myself and telling myself that I needed to work on it. The yarn I mentioned briefly, I'm using, the base is Rancho 3, which is beautiful in the colorway Pluot. It is woman-owned ranch. All the yarn, all the fiber came from a woman's ranch, a female rancher in Colorado, and yeah, all U.S. made, like a cottage industry sort of style. So it has, you can trace the provenance of the yarn very easily, and it's really beautiful. I love it. I'll have to keep an eye out for more. Oh, they're having a warehouse sale soon, so maybe I can pick some up, like in a different color. They have a beautiful sort of, turquoisey color. The colors in this range are really bright, and then they also have the more muted, like this one. This is Pluot, if I didn't say that. Yeah. All right, and that is that project. zooming along here. All right. My next project is that was by Andrea Mowry. This is another Andrea Mowry pattern called Stripes, and I've talked about this. I had a lot of anxiety over the colors and I ended up ripping back and reknitting with new colors, and yeah, it's just, it's coming along. It suffered neglect because of other projects that I'm working on, so I really want to cast on something new now that I have something off my hook, that crochet project, but I'm gonna hold off for a couple weeks before, or at least 1 week before I knit or cast on something new, even though I'm really wanting to cast on something new. My yarn here, all the yarns here are La Bien-Aimée. Some of them were part of a kit that did not work out for me in terms of the striping, and then others I bought to help with the colorways on this sweater. They are the Cashmerino, so it's a really soft, beautiful, this is just going to be such a nice spring, summer, and even fall sweater, though I tend to wear more autumnal colors in the fall. But yeah, the colors are Air Guitar, La Bien-Aimée Yellow, Pinku, Ichigo, Vespa, Graffiti, Lush. Yeah, that's them. And I have them all in this bag, all 6 colors in this bag. So yeah, this is plugging away. It's a really mindless knit. I'm just doing the round and round and stockinette part of the knitting, and it's coming along. But this sock I've been working away on. I am on I'm constructing the heel now. This is Andrea Mowry DRK Everyday Sock pattern. It is my 3rd pair of socks making this pattern, and I'm knitting it out of handspun. I've just really come to enjoy knitting socks out of handspun, and just enjoying working with the handspun. I think that it's educational for me as a spinner to knit with my own handspun. It helps me understand what I did well and what I still need to work on. So yeah, that's why I'm happy to be making this sweater out of my handspun, and then also knitting some of these single skeins of handspun that I've had for the last couple years. So this was made from a bat that I got from Stitch Together Studio called, I don't remember. It was for not an equinox, but one of the in-between equinox days in the spring, I want to say. But I really love the way it is striping naturally, with that teal and orange and some gold. It was a wool blend with a little bit of sparkle, and she had given us also some mohair locks in the bright green and in a golden brown color. So I put those in as I went. I don't know if I have any that are visible. Oh, there's some of the gold right there sticking out. So those would just create some sort of lumpy fuzzy moments in the yarn. But yeah, I am not trying to speed through knitting this. It's just something that this has been I have it in a Jessie, what is it called? Jezebel on Etsy. And I think you can also buy her bags from Espace Tricot. I've had this bag forever, for years. But I keep it in this. It's one that you can knit and walk with, and it's my to-go knitting. So that's basically all my knitting, other than to just chat with you about projects that I'm thinking about. So I have a list I have my projects that I just want to share with you. I took a video clip of them, and I had a list. I filmed like for a couple minutes of my list that I keep in my bullet journal, and I realized that it was really messy, so I redid it, and I'm gonna just share that with you, the video clip of that right now. I recently updated the way I list my projects, so this is my 2021 project list. My old list was a mess, so I just rewrote it, and I decided to add a couple more categories. So I have project, yarn, cast on, and finished. So I listed in order many things that I have already finished and cast on, and then I listed some baby knits that I have here, and I left 2 open spots because I'm sure I'll have more baby knits for my granddaughter. And then on this page it begins with things that are in my graveyard. So they're already cast on, but I haven't knit on them in a long time. And then I went to list all of the things that I'm interested in making, maybe not this year, but just interested in making, because I'm ready for a new cast on and I don't know what to make. I hope you enjoyed that. I really want to cast something new on, and I'm keeping myself from casting something new on because 1, I want to finish some stuff, and 2, I'm waiting for Andrea Mowry's Rhinebeck sweater. I think she said she's releasing it next week, within a week or 2. So I want to see what it is. I always wait until the next year to knit whatever her Rhinebeck. So I would be knitting Rhinebeck, 2020 this year. I don't remember what it was. Was it the Spark cardigan? Speaking of, I did swatch for a new Spark cardigan, and I do want to cast it on. This is my swatch for it. So it would be this bright pink. I did 2 different needle sizes just to sort of figure out. She says to swatch in the round. I did not. I don't have a difference in tension between knitting in the round and knitting flat. My purl, I knit English style. My purl is dead on my knit stitch because I've been knitting so long. I've been knitting since I was 17 years old. So I've had a long time to get my stitch gauge, my tension correct on both sides. So I did not knit in the round. What I do notice happens with me tension wise is that when I knit in the round in a small circumference, like a soccer sleeve, I do get a little bit denser in my tension. My tension gets a little tighter. And I know there's ways around that if you really were obsessive. I'm not obsessive about that, about having my tension ideal. So this is just to say that I did not swatch in the round because I know my tension, my gauge is the same on a big circumference as it is flat. I don't have that issue. I know people that are learning how to knit do have that issue, and there's all these tricks and tips to work on your tension or workarounds if your tension is off, and go have it, go do it, go check it out if you need that. There's nothing wrong with needing some assistance with that stuff. So yeah, I have swatched for a new Spark cardigan, which I will be casting on soon. I just want to get the stone crop off my needles because I don't want to have a second all over color work sweater on my needles while I'm also work. I don't want to have 2. I don't want to have more than 2. So what you're looking at here is some Wing and a Prayer farm yarn. Here it is. Here's a swatch I made of it with just itself. This is all the single ladies, and it is, she calls it a DK weight, but I think it's more like a worsted in terms of its diameter. It is a blend of Shetland and mohair. So if you've been watching me for a while, you know that I made a Spark cardigan last year. I made it just before the holidays. I think I finished it like maybe mid-December, and I ended up making it too small. And I think I've read about this from what other knitters have said about it, is that when you're doing so the spark cardigan, you knit in the round and then you steek it and come back and do the collar. It's a raglan though, and it's a shawl collar. So when you're steeking, it's impossible to try on because you're starting to create a V here. And when you put it on, this is just going to be ridiculously tight. So, and you're knitting bottom up. So I don't know, all of that combined, it made it harder to make sure that your sweater fits until you cut it. And once you've cut it, ripping it out, you're going to get these lengths of yarn instead of having your yarn all together. Like when I rip this out, it's just going to be one long piece. So this time I'm going to err on making a big one because I kind of think this is, though it's beautiful yarn, this pink yarn is beautiful, I think it's a little rough. And I think it'll make a better outer piece than maybe necessarily a good like next to skin piece. So so I'm gonna err on making it a little big. I did not get gauge again. I didn't get gauge last time, and I did a little math to figure out where I should be with the gauge I had. I went down 2 needle sizes too, as this is the needle size recommended, which is a 4.5 millimeter. I went down to a 5, and I still don't have gauge. I'm still bigger. My gauge is still bigger than what she called for. So I might just ignore that because I think it's like 19 stitches instead of 20 for 4 inches. And I might just ignore that and make the size that says it'll fit me. And then it'll be a little big, I think. I have to do all the math and make sure that that's what I want to do. The contrast that you're seeing, that sort of seafoam blue-green, is hand spun that I did. It was my first skein for Tour de Fleece this time around. So I have a bunch of hand spun to show you. I have a bunch of spinning to talk to you about. This is the Cam Dyes yarn in the colorway Springwood. It's really gorgeous. I don't know if you're seeing that it has kind of a little bit of a striping thing going on. It's got this pale blue section contrasting with some golden sections. It's really gorgeous. I ended up making a 4-ply, so it would be worsted weight. It's a really big monster size skein as well. I think it's 120 grams. I have one more braid of this that I will be spinning so that I have enough for this sweater. So yeah, that is my one spinning. And I also spun, I'm going to show you these two at the same time. These are fibers by John Arbin that I bought last year at his mill open house, virtual open house. It was virtual last year and virtual this year too. These are part of the Apple Door collection. This bottom one, I love this bottom one, this red. It's like a beautiful sort of heather rainbow, but on a red base. And this is heather rainbow, but on a turquoise base. I showed this last time. I think I showed the fiber last time. I have enough of this to make a sweater. Yeah, and when I finished it, I was a little bummed that it was so muted, but it's grown on me. I really love it. This is all I have of this. And I don't think I'd put them together, but they could be, I guess. I'll use them for other things. They are British wool blends. I don't remember what they are exactly, so I'll put that on screen. So these are 2 that I have done. So that's 3 total. This is my 4th skein here. This one is really gorgeous. This is a combination. I did a combo draft, and it is Angora and Merino blend. It is a 4-ounce skein, and I would say it's probably DK weight in terms of its diameter of the yarn. I have no plans for it. It was just like kind of a fun. This was for my challenge day, and I ended up spinning it the next day as well. I just love it. It's so soft. The wool was a rainbow braid, and then the Angora was just this natural color. So I thought it would be really fun to ply it, to combo draft it, and then ply it. It's a 2-ply. Oh, those are 2-plies as well. Those ones that I showed you. This is a 4-ply. Yeah. So combo draft means that you hold each of the fleeces. So I had the bunny and the wool, the merino, the rainbow merino, in my hand at the same time, and then I did short forward draw. So I pulled, from both at the same time to get them to mix. And what happened with the rabbit, with the Angora, was that often I would end up pulling out a tuft. So you can see, like right there, I would get these. I ended up with some thick and thin spots, which I'm not mad about. I love it. So yeah, this will be something fun. I can knit this into something fun. I don't know what, but it should be something fun. I have one more skein to show you, a 3-ply. It took me forever. I'm going to show you a clip that I filmed a couple days ago. It was really storming that day, so hopefully the lighting, I can tweak the lighting in the editing, and it'll show well. I'm about to make a 3-ply yarn, and before I go ahead and do that, I thought I would maybe just talk with you a little bit about what it is I'm doing, so it might be easier to see it rather than hear me explain it without without any visual. So what you're looking at here is a loop fiber bump. It does not look like this one. It is one that you saw a couple episodes back. I showed you, I had bought it at Maryland Sheep and Wool. It had a bright green center, and the way that she makes these, Steph from Loop Fiber Studio, she layers in the colors, and then you're pulling out this thin ribbon of fleece and spinning it. And what I decided to do with the one from Maryland Sheep and Wool is make a 3-ply and just spin out of the center pull here and spin until I had a certain number of grams. I tried to evenly distribute the grams, so these should be about 50 grams each. I think this one's a little bigger, but I deliberately did that because I really wanted, this one has the bright green center. That was the first color I spun, and then after that I think is a gray color. There's another color in there, and then there's this black color, and this is the second one that I spun. It starts with black. It goes into gold. I think there's a really long stretch that's a golden color, and then another color, and then this lime green, and then this one begins with lime green, so that's what'll be all the way in. So my thought was this would make a really cool 3-ply. I was just curious to see, I didn't take it and look at the color wheel at all to see how it would go together. It was, about as pleasing, I would say. This is actually a little bit brighter. I think there's some brighter colors in there. Oh, this one does have orange somewhere. I just don't remember where. But what should happen is that I get sort of this almost fractal look to the yarn, but I'm super interested to see how this experiment is going to work out, and if I like it, I'm going to do the same thing to this fiber bump down the road. So enjoyed that. This skein is still pretty wet. It's pretty damp, but I wanted to just show you how I said in the video that it was a fractal, but I think it's going to end up being more of a gradient. It should knit like bands of color like this. It should knit up in bands of color. And you saw after the clip I showed you how it was going. and you could see how the skein really changed its colors, and they're in blocks. Oh my gosh, it's like sticking to itself because it's still wet. Has a little bit of sparkle in it, which I don't know if you can see. You really can't see it, but there's a little bit of sparkle in it. It's from, I think I had said in the video, it's loop fiber. And yeah, I have one more bullseye that is these sort of clashing complementary colors that I'm probably going to apply the same way in the 3-ply. This just took such a long time, and I think, because it's not dry, I don't know the exact yardage, but it's going to be pretty close to 600 yards, one skein. And I actually think it will make a really nice base for a night shift, because it's one skein, so that could be my background, and it's going to color change every so often, so it would still give me that shift that you get in night shift. And then all I need to do is find some contrasting skeins that, you know, are nice. So I might do maybe I'll do something bright and colorful for that. So that is all my spinning, because it has been Tour de Fleece. I've been spinning like crazy. But yeah, Tour de Fleece is time to mess around and play with different fibers and different techniques and stuff. So I'm just going to try out some long draw, continuous long draw, and see how it works with this bat here. And yeah, and then other than that, I will be finishing the second braid of this, and I will be probably moving back to the this John Arbin, the rest of the second and third skein of this. Yeah, I have all the fiber on the on the bed over there behind Martha. I don't know if you can see if I turn her. Not really. But yeah, I just got a bunch of fiber out that I was interested in spinning and just like put it all over the bed, just so I could, you know, get it and, you know, kind of go on whatever I felt like spinning next kind of thing. So, all right, I'm almost done. I have stash acquisitions to share with you, and I bought some yarn, even though I said I probably wasn't going to buy yarn the rest of the year, but this was for a good cause. I bought some Long Island Yarn and Farm alpaca wool silk, yeah, U.S. alpaca, U.S. merino, and silk in the colorway Cotton Candy from Cake Wool. Really, really love the color. I also bought some skincare products, some Shepherdess body butter, which I haven't tried yet. It sounds amazing. And I bought lip balm. I bought it because she was celebrating the birth of a baby that she had, a baby llama that was born, and the baby had a lot of trouble right after birth, and she ended up rushing it up to Ithaca, New York, Cornell University Hospital for surgery. And I don't know what was wrong with the baby. She hasn't said anything yet. She said she'll share at some point. And she just lost one of her llamas yesterday. One of her, she had a pregnant llama who lost the baby, and then she was trying to save the mama, and the mama died too. So it's really sad. But anyway, I just wanted to show support to Tabitha, because I like her so much, and she's on Long Island, near to me, and I've visited her farm, and I've made patterns for her, and yeah, so that's why I ended up buying some of her stuff. I love this. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Really, really love it. It's so expensive. This is probably the most expensive yarn I think I've ever bought. It was like over $60 for one skein. But you know, I thought if she's gonna have another baby coming in September, I think, so maybe she'll have another sale, and maybe I'll pick up another skein. I don't know, and make something. I'll do something with this. kind of a funny topic that I wanted to, not funny, but like, I just wanted to chat with you about this because while I was home during the pandemic in the winter, I was reading about natural deodorants, and one of my sons must wear a natural deodorant. He's allergic to aluminum in deodorant and also I think baking powder in deodorant, so he has to be very careful what brand he buys. And when he first had this problem, there was a real, like, you could buy Tom's natural deodorant, but that was really kind of the only one that you can find. And now there's so many brands of these natural deodorants. So I picked up a few because I just wanted to try it out. I wanted to see what all the hoopla was about. I have been wearing Ladies Secret deodorant forever. And what I came to appreciate about the Ladies Secret was how little I smelled from wearing that. So I I bought 3 different brands of natural deodorant. This one ended up being my favorite, Native. I also bought Agent Nature in the, oh gosh, I don't know what number this is. I think they're all numbered, but this is a unisex one. And I also bought Ursa Major in the Hopping Fresh scent. This is the cucumber mint scent. And what I liked about Native, it's based in coconut oil, so it goes on really smooth and soft. It makes your skin soft. And it also comes in paper, cardboard containers that are completely recyclable the way you recycle all paper products. It's just like this push thing here. So yeah, really, really liked that. As opposed to these, which are in plastic. So I could say out of the 3, this one worked the best. But if I didn't reapply, especially as it started to get warmer, if I didn't reapply around, just after lunch, I would really start to smell. And I would definitely be stinky in the morning when I got out of bed. Same with these. This was the worst in terms of controlling smell. It's sort of the idea of this brand is that it is supposed to it's not supposed to keep you from being smelly. It's instead supposed to mingle with your natural scent and make you smell nice, right? I mean, it's nice, but I don't think I could use it for more than an evening or a couple hours at a clip unless I wanted to carry it around in my handbag and reapply. I do like the scent. It's really nice. And this was probably right in between. Like this same thing, like I had to reapply. What was really interesting to me though was how unfamiliar I was with the way I normally smell. Because I had been using this like really strong anti-deodorant, antiperspirant for decades. And I just wasn't aware that I was so stinky. I just thought I was, the only time I would really smell myself would be after like a really heavy workout, like a really hard run in really hot weather. And even then it was just kind of faint. It sort of mingled with the deodorant where once I switched over to these 100%, and this was all I used for a few months, one of these, I was like, wow, I have really strong body odor. I did not realize how strong it was. I switched back to using Lady Secret because I did a little research, and I'm one of those people who, so I'm an academic, if you don't know. I'm sure if you're new here, I'm an academic, which means like when I research, I really dig deep. So the way you do that is you read a research paper, a scholarly scientific research paper. You look at who their sources are. You read those sources. You look at who their sources are. You read those sources. You keep digging back until you get to the first research that was done or the first analysis that was done. And then you have the full picture of how the analysis progressed over time, and where we are now and what could be done, what still needs investigating. So I did a little research, and there's a lot of myths out there about regular, like commercial made deodorant. And one of them is that aluminum causes breast cancer. There's like a really teeny tiny percentage of people that have a propensity to breast cancer that aluminum will bring, I guess, move it up slightly. Like, it was such a tiny percentage when I looked at the research. So it's not something that most people need to worry about, and I think you'd know because you would already find it irritating. And the other part was that deodorant is bad. Creation of those commercial deodorants is bad for the environment. The evidence I found was very inconclusive on that front. It's sort of like everything we do. Humans are bad for the environment. We're all bad for the environment. So it was kind of inconclusive in terms of like what exactly in the processing or development or making of deodorant made it bad for the environment. I guess mining the aluminum is bad for the environment. Making plastic is bad for the environment. But you can say that, you could say that about a can of Coke. That's bad for the environment. Why are you drinking Coke? So it was kind of that sort of information that I came upon that I was like, I guess it's really regular old deodorant really isn't that bad, but I want to consume less plastic. So this being in the cardboard really sold me. I really wanted to love it. I wanted to be able to use it. I do think I can use this kind of deodorant when it's not summer. So I will just have to keep some with me. Or like if I go to the office, keep some in my desk so I can reapply midday and then reapply before I go to bed so that I'm not waking up with, sheets that need washing and pajamas that need washing because I smell so bad. Or I could just get used to how I smell. I guess that would be the other thing. Anyway, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that. I would love to know your experiences with natural deodorant. And I think what makes them natural is that they use like no chemicals in it, but just natural products. I don't know exactly what's in this one. Actually has its ingredients, but I cannot read that tiny print. And they're great companies. This is a really wonderful company. It's a U.S. company. It is in New Hampshire, I want to say, Ursa Major. They make all natural products, toothpaste, I think, and other things. So does Native. I don't know if Native is a U.S. company too, and I don't know if this is a U.S. company. It might be a French company. I do not remember. Or German. I don't remember. Anyway, they are also very expensive, by the way. These are like $20 or $15 or something like that for deodorant, where the brand that I usually use is like $6 and I can buy it on sale 2 for 1. All right, enough of that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and I will be back in a couple weeks with updates and hopefully a lot of finished objects and maybe a couple new cast-ons. And I will see you then. Stay well and stay healthy and get vaccinated. Wear your masks when you need to. When you feel shy or whatever, put your mask on. Or afraid of being in a crowd. I understand. I feel the same way. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.